Just one drop of your love, a single ray of sun, just one thing to change the world. It's just you and me, starting with a dream and giving it all we've got. Only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop. I need you and you need me. We can do anything together. Just one drop of your love, a single ray of sun, just one thing to change the world. It's just you and me, starting with a dream and giving it all we've got. Only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop. I need you and you need me. Left alone, we will never be who we could be. So take my hand and don't forget that we can do anything together. Just one drop of your love, a single ray of sun, just one thing to change the world. It's just you and me, starting with a dream and giving it all we've got. Only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop, only takes one drop. Come with me now, look and see how there's an ocean overflowing with our hopes. So let's jump in and take a swim. It's you and me, yeah, forever.
Drink through the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We might have to pass notes, like we do in school. Eh?
I'm trying to whisper. Yeah, I don't know what they.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the AGM for Asian Aid. My name's David Swain. I'm the Deputy Chair of the Board. Colin sends his apologies. He's the Chair of the Board. He had a delayed flight from the US, so I've just got a message that he's on his way. The plane's landed, he's gone home, and he'll come up. So he'll be here, an hour and a half or so? Yeah, whatever. So you'll meet Colin in person, all right? So in the meantime, I'm standing in for Colin, and he's got a chairman's report, which I'll read out to you later on. So welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all here. This is our AGM, and it's a very special AGM because it's our 60th anniversary. It's our diamond anniversary for the romantics here in this room. You'll see in the balloon, you see the balloons up there? You can see 60 years of hope since 1966, and that's what Asian Aid is about. It's about giving hope to people, hope for today. So I've been told that we have a quorum. There are 4 people online, is that right? 4 people online, and people here as well. Okay. So over the past 6 decades, Asian Aid has helped thousands of people and learned a lot of things. These lessons are shaped by challenges, faith, perseverance, and the lives that have been transformed along the way. Throughout today's program, you'll notice 6 short reflections appear on the screen, each representing 1 decade of Asian Aid's journey and history. These thoughtful insights have been written by our own Karen. Would you like to raise your hand, please? You all know Karen, there you are. And by the way, when I introduce the staff, I'll get you to all put up your hand, all right? And also the board members. That means you, Linnell, okay? So this is written by Karen Patrick and capture the heart of Asian Aid's remarkable story. And I'd encourage you all to watch these sections and just see what Asian Aid has achieved. So I would like to invite Linnell to open our meeting in prayer.
Let us bow our heads. Gracious Father, thank you so much for gathering us together today. We look back on 60 years of service by Asian Aid and our hearts are filled with gratitude. Not because every path has been easy, but because you have been faithful through every challenge and every victory. Thank you for every life touched, every family encouraged, every community strengthened, every act of compassion shared through this organisation. The stories we celebrate today are not simply the result of human effort, they are reminders that your love continues to reach people through willing hands and generous hearts. As we meet here today, grant us wisdom beyond our own understanding. Help us to listen with humility and make decisions that honour both the people served and the mission you have entrusted. Bless the directors, the leaders, the staff, the volunteers, the partners, the donors, the supporters, the children, the families. Renew those who are weary. Encourage those who carry heavy responsibilities. Inspire fresh vision where new opportunities await. May we never lose sight of the people behind every report, every budget, every strategy and every decision. Lord, remind us that while we plan, you guide. While we work, you provide. While we serve, you transform lives. Keep our hearts anchored in compassion and our eyes fixed on the hope that comes only from you. And as we look to the year ahead, we know you will go before us. Open doors where there seem to be none. Give courage to face new challenges, generosity to meet great needs, and faith to believe that even small acts of love can have an eternal impact. Most of all, may every person served by Asian Aid experience more than kindness. May they encounter your hope and discover they're deeply loved, wonderfully valued, and never forgotten by you. We entrust this meeting, this organisation, and the year ahead into your wonderful hands. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Linda. Asian Aid is God's organisation. God is the driving force behind Asian Aid and everything that is achieved. Now we have a video.
Yes, thank you.
My name's Isla and I was born in Australia. मेरा नाम सृष्टि नाग है, मैं भारत से हूँ. When I was little, my dad got really sick, but he got help from the doctors to make him better. जब मैं छोटी थी, तब मेरे पापा बहुत बीमार थे. हम लोग के पास हॉस्पिटल जाने के लिए पैसे नहीं थे. अब मैं और भैया और मम्मी बस है. When I was 5, I remember driving to school for the first time, and I was so excited. जब मैं 5 साल की थी, मुझे स्कूल जाने के लिए पैसे नहीं थे, इसलिए मैं मम्मी के साथ काम करने जाती थी. When I was 6, my mummy and daddy made a decision that changed our life. जब मैं 6 साल की हुई, तब मेरी जिंदगी बदल गई. My parents decided to help a child, but they are not that different to me. ऑस्ट्रेलिया में किसी ने एशियन एड से हमारी मदद की. उन्होंने हम लोग का फैमिली और गांव वाले का मदद करने के लिए फैसला किया. Me and my parents love learning about her friends and her wishes and dreams. अब उसकी मदद से मैं स्कूल जा सकती हूँ और डॉक्टर को दिखा सकती हूँ. उन्होंने मेरी मम्मी के लिए बकरियाँ और धान का बीज खरीदे ताकि हम घर चला सकें.
Where a child is born and the poverty they grow up in can quietly steal their future before it even begins. Millions of children like Shristi don't fall behind because they lack ability. They fall behind because they were never given a fair start. At Asian Aid, we exist for these children. With your help, we turn compassion into action, championing each child's God-given potential. We open access to quality education, provide vital health care, restore safe and secure childhoods, and equip families and communities to care, protect, and nurture their children. So every child has someone fighting for them. Because when we support children, their families, and their communities, we change lives today and create brighter futures for everyone they will one day reach. Since 1966, we have given hope to disadvantaged children, their families, and communities.
Secretary, and I'm just going to pass the minutes from last year's AGM. So we have all the 92 members could have access to do the voting pre our meeting now, which is all done online. And so I can actually say that it's been resolved that the minutes from the 2025, the 3rd of August AGM meeting have now been passed.
All right. Thank you, Inigo. Now, the chairman's remarks. So this is what Colin, if he was here, he would have presented this. So I'll just read it to you. This year is a significant anniversary for our organisation. This year we celebrate 60 years of God's faithfulness to Asian Aid, a milestone that gives us the opportunity not only to look back with gratitude, but also to look ahead with renewed purpose. From humble beginnings, Asian Aid has grown into an organisation that has impacted thousands of lives across South Asia through education, through healthcare, community development, and child sponsorship. As we reflect on those 60 years, one thing becomes abundantly clear. While our programs have evolved, our mission has never changed. We remain committed to enabling children their families and communities to reach their God-given potential through child-focused programs that foster sustainable, positive change. One of the greatest lessons we've learned over these 6 decades is that lasting change doesn't happen by supporting children in isolation. Children thrive when families are strengthened, when schools are equipped, when healthcare is accessible, and when communities themselves become places of safety, opportunity, and hope. That understanding continues to shape the way we work today. As we share with you the numbers, the collection of statistics from our work, please remember behind every number is a child with dreams, a family finding stability, or a community taking meaningful steps towards a brighter future. During the past year alone, more than 1,400 children were supported through school sponsorship. Over 6,200 children and caregivers received treatment through school health camps, and hundreds of families participated in livelihood programs designed to provide long-term financial stability rather than temporary relief. These are practical examples of hope becoming a reality. Alongside expanding our programs, we have also continued strengthening the way we work. During the year, we reviewed and revived and enhanced our safeguarding systems, risk management practices, and monitoring and evaluation process. These improvements help ensure that every dollar entrusted to Asian Aid is used responsibly, every child is protected, and our partners are equipped to deliver programs with excellence and accountability. Financial stewardship remains central to our responsibility as a board, and Paul will talk about that later on. I want to thank each of you, our sponsors, donors, churches, schools, and supporters. Many of you have faithfully partnered with Asian Aid for years, and some for decades. Whether you sponsor one child, volunteer in an op shop, pray regularly for our work, or contribute financially, you are part of every life that has been changed through this organisation, Asian Aid. And you are also part of the family of Asian Aid, and we as a board and the staff are very grateful for your support. The needs facing children across South Asia remain significant, yet so do the opportunities. Together, we can continue building communities where children are protected, families are strengthened, education is accessible, and hope continues to multiply for generations to come. I'll finish my remarks with the words that appear in this year's annual report from Psalm 126. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. Indeed, he has. On behalf of the board, thank you for your continued faith, generosity, and partnership. We look forward to all that God will continue to accomplish through Asian Aid in the years ahead. So thank you very much. At this point, I'll introduce myself.
I'd like to introduce David.
All right. Now, this is our 60th anniversary, I've said before. The founder of Asian Aid, as you know, was Maisie Fook. And at this particular junction, this point of time, it's very, very important that we pay tribute to Maisie and the vision that God gave to Maisie. So Maisie was born in 1924. She from a Chinese Australian family, and what God did to Maisie was fascinating. It's amazing. And out of what God did for Maisie comes Asian Aid over the 60 years and what it is today. Have you ever thought that life is like a railway line? That when you start out in your life, you know, we have dreams of what life would be, and we look down the track and we know exactly what's going to happen and what we're going to be like and where we're going to end up and things like that. Sometimes, and have you ever experienced this? Sometimes God has a different view and a different plan for your life. And what God does, and this is what God did for Maisie, he actually switches the points. So instead of going down this railway line that you think is your life, God sends you off on this railway line because he has a purpose in mind. And that branch line, that railway line was Asian Aid. And everyone that's been affected by Asian Aid has become a branch line of that different railway line. And that is something very special that Maisie recognised. So Maisie went to South Korea and she saw the poverty and the need of children in South Korea. When she was there, God planted a seed. He planted an idea. He planted a thought. That thought, that seed, was do something for these children. So she came back to Australia, and with her husband Dennis, they talked about what could we do? What will we do? And from that little seed that God planted in her mind came Asian Aid. And you'll see some of that history as we present that later on in the meeting. But Maisie has been like many of the people in some of the Bible stories. Have you ever thought that Maisie was a good Samaritan? So the story of the Good Samaritan is there's a person on the side of the road who'd been attacked and robbed. And certain people saw it, noticed it, didn't want to notice it, passed by. That was not Maisie. Maisie goes to South Korea and the subcontinent and she sees the need. But she did not pass by. She decided to do something about it with God's help. She wanted to give these children a safe haven. You remember the Good Samaritan attended to the person, then took that person to the inn and said to the innkeeper, look after this person and here's some money. And when I pass by again, I'll give you some more money if there's more money. So what that Good Samaritan did, took that person on the side of the road in need and gave that person a safe haven. That's what Maisie did. And that's what Asian Aid does. It gives people in need a safe haven. There's another story as well. Remember the story of Ruth and Boaz? Ruth was a Moabitess, Naomi, and Naomi and Ruth come back to Israel after living in Moab for a while. They were widows and they were very poor and they were in great need. Now, God had a social justice program for Israel. And part of that social justice program was when the landowners had a field, when it came to harvest, they were not allowed to harvest all the field. They had to leave a corner of the field. And the purpose of that was for people in need to come into the field and actually harvest, glean the wheat or whatever. And that would be their food for the time being. Maisie understood that. And Asian Aid has become the corner of the field to provide food and sustenance for those in need. There was another story in the Bible, Elijah and Elisha. Now, Elijah, when he was going up to heaven, he had a mantle, he had a cloak. And as he was going up to heaven, that mantle fell on the ground. Elisha picked up that mantle. That mantle was God's work. And Elisha gladly picked up the mantle and continued God's work. Asian Aid is a bit like that mantle. Asian Aid is about God's work. And when Maisie passed on, she dropped that mantle. And there were people who gladly picked up the mantle that was Asian Aid because they saw the need and they continued the work of Asian Aid. And when some of us move on, we'll be dropping the mantle as well. But God has already prepared the people who will pick up that mantle to keep Asian Aid going and all the work of Asian Aid and God's work through Asian Aid. Matthew 25, there comes a judgment time, the sheep and the goats. And Jesus says, people come up, the sheep come up and say, well, and Jesus says, right, you're into heaven. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Well, how come? Because when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was a stranger, you took me in. And when I was in prison, you came and visited me. And the sheep said, well, when did we do all that? And Jesus said to them, inasmuch as you've done it unto one of these, the least of my brethren, you have done it unto me. That's Asian aid. There are people who are hungry, we feed them. There are people that are thirsty, we give them drink. There are strangers, and we take them in. That's God's work to care for humanity, to care for people. And it's also part of God's social justice. So, in tribute to Maisie, all those years ago, 60 years ago, God gave her a seed, and this seed grew into Asian Aid and what it is today. And the thousands of people that have been helped by Asian Aid throughout the years, they have become the branch lines of the railway track that God sent Maisie down. So I think it's appropriate at this time, because this is being recorded, let's put our hands together and thank God and thank Maisie for what she did. So thank you, Maisie. Now, Maisie, we had an anniversary, okay, back in 1990. And Maisie said these words, I once read that just as surely there's a place prepared in the heavenly mansions for us, there's a place for us to work for God. And I used to wonder where that place was for me. Then God led me to be involved in Asian Aid, and it really gave my life purpose. I had something worthwhile to do. I didn't have a very good education. I didn't think that I could do very much for God. He gave me the abilities I've needed. It's really opened up my world. It has been my highest privilege and greatest joy. And for those of us who are working for Asian Aid, and for those of us who are supporting Asian Aid, it is truly one of the highest privileges and greatest joys of our lives because of the impact it has on a person's life. Dennis was the husband, and he paid tribute to Maisie, and he said these words. Maisie was energetic, resourceful, and remembered by many whose lives she touched both at home and abroad. God comes into our lives and he touches our lives. And part of being a Christian is to pass on God's love and care to other people where we go out and touch other people's lives. That's what Asian Aid is about. At the 50th anniversary celebrations for Asian Aid, Dennis was a guest and credited God for the organisation's longevity. He said this, after Maisie came back from visiting South Korea after the war, the vision was just to help disadvantaged children, and now it's grown to so much more than that. All along, God has led, guided, supported, and that's why we are here today. The blessings are not only for the people who receive, but also for the people who give. He went on to say this, the main point is that it's all God's work. When Jesus comes, I believe there will be many people ready to go home because of the work that Asian Aid has done. And our support of Asian Aid and our work for Asian Aid, looking after the needs of people, Jesus will be able to say to each one of us, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Maisie Fook was that good and faithful servant, and she has passed it down to us. And we understand what Asian Aid is about. We respect the legacy of Maisie Fook, and we are stewards of Asian Aid, and we carry on the work. And the next generation to come, if time lasts that long, will be doing exactly the same. And that, just as it's a great privilege for us in our lives, it'll be a great privilege for them in their lives. So thank you to Maisie Fook. What's next? Now, let me introduce the staff to you. This is where you wave your hand. I just don't want to see that, you know. I want it like that, okay? So, Paul, our CEO. Paul's leading out, all right? Bruna. Where's Bruna? Okay? Bruna is our marketing and communications person. Then there's Inika, sitting on my left hand, okay? making sure everything runs smoothly. Okay. Tian, where's Tian? Tian is very much involved in our op shop, and thank you for that, Tian. So Tian is our engagement coordinator. Prudence
from India.
from India,
She'll wave.
in India at the moment, our marketing and communications coordinator. Ange. Ange is also a marketing communications coordinator. Tammy, behind the flowers there. Tammy is our co-programs manager. Joanna, yep, our co-programs manager. Linda. Linda is the program finance coordinator. James, IT analyst, and Sharon. Sharon, yeah, up the back there. Sharon is our human resources and op shop manager. Okay. We need to do this.
Just going to invite Karen, I think, up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another important person in Asian AIDS history was Helen Eager. Do many of you know Helen? Yeah? Okay. So Karen's going to come up and pay a tribute to Helen and her contribution to Asian Aid.
I'd just like to say a few words to my friend Helen, who I believe is online. So the rest of you can sit in and listen if you'd like, but this is my message for Helen. My dear friend Helen, I wonder where the years have gone. I was a mere 10-year-old when Asian Aid started, but I didn't know about it until I was in my early 20s. As a young mum in Kurumbong with 2 little girls, I used to come around to your house to buy material to make dresses for my girls. I'm not sure if you knew who I was then, but living in Kurumbong, it was impossible not to be aware of you and your involvement with Asian Aid. With the Asian Aid shop, the harvest festivals and other fundraisers, your commitment was noted. Back then, I never would have guessed that 10 years later, we both would be in Wauchope with our families. Even though you had been on the Asian Aid journey for a number of years already, my journey was just beginning. Thank you for asking me to help you with some office tasks almost 40 years ago. What was just a one-day-week opportunity grew into an adventure that lasted 34 years, with a passion for supporting kids that has long continued and I hope will never end. In my time working with you at Asian Aid, I learned what real Christian service looks like. I have sat in churches and listened in awe as you have preached of the Christian's duty to the widows and to the orphans. I have travelled in India with you and have seen your love and compassion for the children, the mothers and the families. We visited schools where hundreds of children flocked to be close to Mummy Eager. I've seen teachers regard you highly because you represent to them the organisation that was able to keep their school open so that hundreds of children could come to school when otherwise it would have been impossible for them to get an education. I've seen your face radiate with joy and pride as former students, now adults, have come up to you and reminded you of how you have enabled the Ministry of Asian Aid to lift them from being just a poor child in a remote village. And now they might be a teacher, a pastor, an accountant, or maybe a minister, or maybe a dedicated young mum who is now able to support her children through their schooling and help them with their homework because of the education they have received. The first time I travelled with you to India, our first day took us to Surat Adventist Hospital for the graduation weekend of a number of student nurses. I think there were about 18 of them that were Asian Aid sponsored. A few of them were from Sunshine Orphanage. There's never a good reason for a child to have to grow up in an orphanage, but in spite of that, these girls graduating as nurses was a good outcome from their Asian Aid sponsorship. A few days later, we visited Spicer College in Pune. There we met quite a few Asian Aid sponsored tertiary students. In particular, there was one young man, a very diligent and passionate young man. He was a ministry student. I wish I could remember his name, but just let's call him Sanjay. I was really impressed with his desire to reach out and serve. He had such potential. He was going to be a wonderful leader, preacher, and community champion. Then 2 weeks later, in a different part of the country, we visited a remote community. We had to walk through a river to reach the village. We watched ladies from the village come to the river and make a hole in the river gravel to collect filtered water to take back to their families. And it was from this village that Sanjay came. That made a huge impression on me. A boy from this remote village had the chance to be that outstanding student that I had met in Pune. Years later, I learnt that he was a wonderful pastor and leader in his community. In that first visit, we also visited Curtis School and met a lot of students. 12 years later, when I returned a second time to India, a young teacher came up to me and reminded me that we had met before. First time, he was the student at Kurda. This time, he was the teacher. Helen, I have seen you struggle with difficult decisions as to which children or which project is the most deserving of Asian Aid support, wanting to help each one, but knowing that with the available funding, it was just not possible. And then back in Australia, you knew there was only one way to make it possible for more children to be helped, and that was to tell others about the need. How many miles did we travel together? And I know that I only did a little bit of the travelling, a little bit of the telling. How many churches, schools and camp meetings did you and your family travel to so that people could be told of the needs and respond by sponsoring students? Over the years, many folk have said to me, I started sponsoring when Helen Eager visited our church and told me about the need. Today, as we celebrate Asian Aid's 60th anniversary, we also recognise that the huge part that you have played in the Asian Aid story. You gave willingly of your time, your skills, your personal resources and your passion so that others could have the opportunity of support, of an education, maybe medical care or other assistance that was needed. But most of all, they were given a picture of Jesus. I was given a picture of Jesus. All of us here have been given a glimpse of what action-oriented faith means. Not just wishing someone well, but helping with the life needs. As we read in James 1:27, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless, is this, to look after the orphans and the widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Thank you, Helen, for all you have done through your ministry with Asian Aid. Thank you for being a true friend and a mentor to me. I love you, Helen. God bless you.
Hello everyone. Congratulations on celebrating 60 wonderful years of Asian Aid. I wish I could be there with you today. It has been such a privilege to be part of Asian Aid for so many years. Looking back, I feel incredibly grateful for the opportunities God gave me to serve through this ministry. The mission of Asian Aid has always been very dear to my heart. Seeing children receive an education, food, a safe place to live, and the opportunity to know Jesus has been such a blessing. I truly believe this work changes lives, not only for today, but for eternity. I'd especially like to thank Karen for her friendship and support over the years. She has been a wonderful friend to me, and I will always be grateful. I also want to thank everyone I had the privilege of working with. There are far too many to mention names, but you know who you are. Thank you for your friendship, your support, and your dedication to Asian Aid. It was a joy to serve alongside you, and I will always treasure the memories. When I look back over my years with Asian Aid, I remember the people, the friendships, the laughter, and the joy of serving God. I especially remember the smiling faces of the thousands of children we met over the years who have been blessed. These memories have enriched my life more than I could ever express. I truly believe I have received far more than I ever gave. My prayer is that God will continue to bless Asian Aid as it moves into the future. May He give wisdom to those who lead and use this ministry to bring hope, opportunity, and the love of Jesus to many more children and families. I look forward to the day when we will meet in heaven with so many of the children whose lives have been touched through Asian Aid. What a wonderful reunion that will be. Thank you, and may God richly bless each one of you as you continue this important work.
Just stay up there.
Can do the-
All right, we now move on to the board. You can see the pictures of the people on the board. Let me introduce you. Some of the board members are here in person. So you know about me as the Deputy Chair. Kay Zeiderfeld is on our Finance Committee. Kay is probably coming in online. Nadine Brody. Andrew Swain, who's on the Finance Committee. Alan Fletcher. Alan's here. Yeah, there you go, Alan. All right. Lorena Sani. Robert Hatton. Okay. And Linnell Cobben. So we have a very experienced board, and the core of what they try and do at the board is to always act in the best interests of Asian Aid and always act in the best interests of the beneficiaries of Asian Aid. So and I would now like to invite Tian, our engagement coordinator, to pray over the board, inviting God to provide his wisdom and guidance over each of our directors.
Good morning. I'll ask that you'll bow your heads with me. Dear Father, I want to thank our beautiful board members on behalf of the team at Asian Aid for their time, for their commitment, for their passion, for the way that they lead our organisation and support us as staff. I thank you that they share the vision of Asian Aid, that they want the best outcomes for the children, the families and communities that we serve. And we're so grateful for their time, for their energy and their passion that they share with us. I thank you that they are willing to partner with us and make a difference in the lives of children. In your name we pray. Amen.
Now, what you see up there at the moment is 60 years of Asian Aid through the various decades. And as you read that, I'll just read what Colin has prepared. When Asian Aid was founded in 1966, it began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide hope and opportunity for vulnerable children. What started with the very modest resources, with just $200, no paid staff, but a big vision. Remember the seed? The seed was the vision. Dennis tells a story that they were living in Tenterfield in their home, and Maisie and Dennis started talking about, what can we do to help people? That conversation was in the hallway of that home. So it'd be good to put a plaque in that hallway, if it's still there. By October 1968, it had registered as a charity in Australia, so 2 years later. By 1975, while supporting children in Korea and Vietnam, records show funds on hand on May 1975, $4,098.02. Paying a fee of $75 in 1981, Asian Aid joined the Australian Council for Overseas Aid. That's now ACFID. In 1987, After Maisie Fook retired, Helen Eager combined the Sydney and Hunter Valley branches, keeping Asian Aid running from the family tent while their home was being built. In 1991, just $8 a month could provide one meal a day for one child. Do you remember those days? They were good days when things were a bit cheaper, particularly fuel. Remember we used to have those V8 cars? Huh? A significant feature of this financial report is that despite continuing economic turmoil, donations to Asian Aid were up by $100,000. In 2006, this year saw Asian Aid turn 40. That's 40 years of changing lives. What a milestone. Today, the Asian Aid family sponsors over 7,000 children in schools and plays an important role in providing clean water for villages, basic health care, vocational training, and tertiary education for nurses and teachers. In 2009, Asian Aid purchased and renovated a brick house in Wauchope as its office headquarters in operation today. How many of you have been to that office at Wauchope? Can you just show me your hand? Yeah, it was a donation, and it's an excellent office, and it's well furnished, and it really caters to the needs of Asian Aid very well. In 2026, the past year itself also marked the beginning of exciting new initiatives. One was the launch of our night care partnership in Cambodia, providing overnight care for babies and toddlers living in some of the country's most vulnerable communities. These children receive far more than a safe place to sleep. Remember, Maisie, one of her dreams was to provide children with a safe haven. Well, this is the latest initiative to ensure that some children have a safe haven. These children receive far more than a safe place to sleep. They receive nutritious meals, learning opportunities, caring adults, and the security every child deserves. It is a powerful example of addressing immediate needs while investing in a child's future. Another was our inaugural Hope Venture trip to Nepal, where young adults had the opportunity to witness firsthand the impact of our work. Experiences like these help inspire a new generation of advocates who will continue championing children well into the future and championing their needs. As Paul and Linda will share with us shortly, Asian Aid continues to maintain a strong financial position, continuing to invest directly into international programs and bequest-funded projects across India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Cambodia. Of course, organisations don't achieve milestones. People do. These outcomes would simply not be possible without the extraordinary generosity and trust of our supporters. As we reflect and celebrate the 60 years of Asian Aid's journey, our focus is not simply on our history. Instead, we see it as a reminder that God's faithfulness in the past, which gives us confidence for the future. Remember when I said about Maisie, sometimes God changes the points on our life's trajectory and we go off to another line. Sometimes when you go off on that other line, you can't see beyond the engine. And to understand that, you've got to have faith. You've got to trust and you've got to do God's will. And day by day and year by year, you may not see what's beyond the engine, the front of the engine, but God sees that entire railway track and he knows where he wants to take you. And he also knows that putting you on that journey is the best thing for you, because he says, I know the plans I have for you, to give you a future and to give you a hope. He gave a future and a hope to Asian Aid and all the tens of thousands of people that have been helped over the last 60 years. Now let me introduce Paul. Paul has been our CEO for a number of years now. It's actually 2019, so this is 7 years, Paul. Paul has been a fantastic CEO, and the board is very, very grateful to Paul for what he's done for Asian Aid, for the direction he's taken it, under the guidance of God. So, Paul, over to you.
Thanks, Colin. No, thanks, David. Appreciate you stepping in at last minute for Colin. As you heard, Colin is travelling back, and he planned his travel to land last night, so he would be here this morning, and was delayed in Dallas or somewhere with his connecting flight. So I appreciate that it's a challenge, but yeah, thanks, David, for stepping in. And as he said, I've been with Asian Aid for 7 years. It's gone very quickly, and it's been a privilege to be at Asian Aid for that time. But prior to working here at Asian Aid, I was also associated with Asian Aid from a little lad through my mum and dad. Mum's here. And also who were volunteers and supporters. But also I grew up next to Helen, and Karen has given an overview of Helen and her contribution. And I also remember, like, we lived next door, going through the lounge room, and there were sponsorship papers everywhere. There was donations and bags and everything in the other corner. And Helen would always come back and talk many stories that Karen has shared. But there was always so many stories of the children that were supported and need required, and it was just so that's sort of my journey with Asian Aid, going back a fair way, which was it's been a real privilege. And also, over 60 years, it's not just the team here, but everyone that we've heard about, from Maisie right through all the team members, all the volunteers, and all the in-country partners that have made it possible up on this 60-year timeline. It's been a real privilege to be able to travel, as Karen said. You get to see a lot of the children who have been impacted, the programs that the partners do, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of opportunity to see that generational change over the 60 years. And that's only possible through all of your support, and for that we're really very grateful. So you've also seen a lot of the team members. I'd like to thank our team, the current team. You've met us. David's introduced us, but I'm really grateful for the team that we have. The expertise that everyone brings is much appreciated, and even just pulling together this year and the 60th is always a big milestone. So thank you for what you do, and you'll hear from a few others as we go through, which will be more exciting than me, but thanks, team. And one of those team members that you have already met was Karen. So come on, Karen, up you come. So I was starting at Asian Aid, 7 years ago? Yep. Walked in and Karen was there, always so welcoming. And we all wrote down a few things of what was, and I only got to summarise one page, but there was about a book of all the things that Karen has done over 35 years of Asian Aid, and been a milestone, haven't you? So we wanted to thank you for what you've done and the work. So. Yeah, so there wasn't, over 35 years, you can imagine there's not back then defined roles and all these things, but if you needed something, who did you ask? You would ask Karen. Did you need to know where that was, or what cupboard that was in, or who was the supporters back 35 years ago? Karen still knows. Karen is the encyclopedia that we all connected with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good. Appreciate it. Thanks, Karen. Wanted to say thank you. But then also it leads into the volunteers, and we've had, as I've mentioned, a lot of donations, and there's also the op shop here. So David and Delmay High spent a lot of time in there and working tirelessly in the op shop. But volunteers, the current op shop volunteers, we thank them. Our board members, all our board members you've been introduced to, they're volunteers, and their expertise and contribution is valuable to us in the work that we do, and their guidance and commitment is so much appreciated. And we'd like to thank the board too. I know we have, but yeah. And so then from there, we'd just like to move on to our mission and our vision. And our mission is to enable children, their families and communities to reach their God-given potential through child-focused programs that foster sustainable positive change. And our mission is all children, their families and communities are empowered, protected and have full access to their rights. So we also have values as a team and organisation, and we just thought we would share just the high level values, and then we have our team values. But our values are: we believe in Jesus, the Son of God. We value people. We champion children's potential. We commit to being good stewards. And we serve with accountability and professionalism. So as a team, we reflect on these, and they help guide our decisions on some of the programs and all the work that we do. So we just wanted to share that with you today. And where we work, you've heard a little bit about where we work, and there's many stories, and you'll hear more about that with Tammy and Joanna and the team. But we work in Nepal, Bangladesh, Cambodia and India, and we're all fortunate to travel at different times to these areas and see the amazing work that the partners do. And so we'd like to thank the partners again for 60 years of support and the generational impact that the partners have done in country. And one of the things that we see when we go is your support in country on the ground. Many of our partners are being led or run by children who have been sponsored. They've gone on and done their studies, and now they're back in the organisation giving back. But that's only because of everyone's support that's been given to them. And they're so passionate and committed to ensuring the children now and the next generations have sustainable change into the future. So we thank you for that too, but we thank the partners for all their work that they've done for that 60 years and another 60 years. Linda. Oh, this is a Linda. Little recognition for Linda. Come up, Linda. So 5 years. 5 years, Linda? Yeah. So Linda's an awesome team member. We'd like to thank you for what you do, all the work you do, the coordination, the commitment, the dedication. Without Linda, a lot of things would just not happen. And with Linda, there's a lot of eye rolls to me. And I love that, because when there's an eye roll, I know that, oh, well, something's happening that I've forgotten about, and it's quite often every day. But no, Linda, while introduced as the project finance coordinator, actually has an impact on all of us. It's not just the finance section, from liaising with partners with Tammy and Joanna, in the admin piece with Sharon, James and I, and also in the supporter engagement team as well. So, Linda, you impact everyone.
Thank you.
And we thank you.
Thank you so much.
For the eye rolls and the
And his
coordination. See ya. Thank you. We'll say that. Oh, here. All right. Is that me, James? Good. Now you get on to the interesting stuff with Tammy and Joanna, other than the Linda recognition, but thank you, guys.
Good morning, everyone. So, at AsianAid, we believe every child is created in the image of God with immeasurable worth and potential. This year, as we celebrate 60 years of AsianAid, we reflect on the impact that comes from investing in children. Through education, health, sustainable livelihoods, and safeguarding, we are creating opportunities for children, families, and their communities to thrive. Psalm 78 reminds us of the importance of passing on God's faithfulness from one generation to the next. We will tell the next generation of the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done. Investing in children is at the heart of AsianAid's work. Today, Tammy and I would love to share with you some stories and highlights just from the past year, showing the impact made possible through God's faithfulness and your partnership across the countries where we work. So access to quality education lays the foundation for lifelong learning and opens the door to better health, greater opportunities, and a brighter future. When a child is educated, the impact extends far beyond the classroom, helping to break the cycle of poverty and creating lasting change for families and entire communities. Over the past year, thanks to your support, 1,418 children were sponsored across India, Nepal, and Bangladesh, while a further 1,279 were engaged in child-focused school projects. Dorothy, you can see pictured here, shares, "I'm deeply grateful to be studying and living in such a wonderful school environment. Every day I feel thankful for the opportunity to learn, grow, and be surrounded by friends who feel like family." Dorothy's story reflects the impact of your support. Every child reached through our programs has been given the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive in a safe, supportive environment, building a stronger foundation for their future and for the communities around them. Education extends far beyond the classroom. When children have opportunities to create, explore, and experience new things, they build confidence, creativity, and the skills to reach their full potential. Over the past year, 949 children participated in music, drama, and arts programs, while a further 1,005 children took part in educational excursions. Whether expressing themselves through the performing arts or exploring new places and ideas, children developed new skills, broadened their perspectives, and created lasting memories. The children pictured in the top right up here, they were on excursion visiting an agricultural research facility where they explored different crops, irrigation systems, and sustainable farming practices. And it's experiences like this that bring their learning to life, helping children connect their education to the world around them, build friendships, explore new ideas and places, and see different possibilities for their future.
In the reporting year, 76 teachers were engaged in training sessions together with practical workshops and professional upskilling programs to support them to transform their classroom practices from rote-based learning to active participatory learning through child-centred methodologies. Teachers who engaged in the program discovered greater self-assurance about their abilities to implement new teaching methods, resulting in greater student participation during classroom activities and evaluations. So Miss Renuka, the teacher and girls dean, you can see pictured down here on the left, she said, "These sessions have helped us look at our students beyond the marks. We are now more aware of their mental health, their rights and life skills, and we try to support them in a more holistic way." Students involved in the remedial sessions that happened this year showed growth in their learning, including the capacity to reach age-appropriate levels of proficiency in their English and their maths skills during the middle school years. As we know, good health is essential for children to learn, grow, and reach their full potential. That's why AsianAid's health programs this year have taken a holistic approach, supporting children's physical, mental, and emotional well-being while creating safe environments where they can thrive. During the reporting period, 6,252 children and caregivers received treatment through school health camps, bringing essential healthcare services directly into the communities where access can often be limited. A further 3,873 girls and young mothers accessed reproductive health clinics where they received essential healthcare, education, and support that was tailored to their needs. By improving access to healthcare and health education, these programs are helping to prevent illness, promote healthy development, and ensure that children and families have the support they need to lead healthier lives. Another way that AsianAid supports strong health outcomes for children is through school-based sports and wellbeing programs. Such activities help children stay active, build confidence, develop teamwork and leadership skills, and create positive friendships. They also provide safe spaces where children can learn, play, and grow together. Over the past year, 1,379 children participated in sports and wellbeing programs across our partner projects. Through football, hockey, athletics, and other team sports, children developed healthy habits, strengthened their confidence, and built skills that extend well beyond the playing field. These photos you can see capture just some of the moments. From inter-school competitions to sports week celebrations, children are building their confidence, learning to work together, and discovering their strengths. A particular focus of these programs is ensuring that girls have equal opportunities to participate, helping every child reach their full potential. So can everybody just read this slide out with me? We can all see that clearly. It's not too bad? No, that's right. So imagine that you are in a classroom and this is what you can see on the board. Imagine how hard it would be to follow along and learn. You begin to think that you are just a poor learner and can't keep up with the other students. Imagine if you didn't know that what you are seeing was related to your eye health. Now imagine putting prescription glasses on for the first time and suddenly everything comes into focus. For 144 children, the simple solution of receiving prescription glasses helped bring their world and their learning into focus. They were able to see clearly so they could read and engage in their learning. In the reporting year, eye health became one of the most impactful components of the health camps delivered, noting that there were low rates of health literacy and access to services in the communities where AsianAid works. Anjali, who's pictured there on the far left, lives with her mother in a small mud brick hut, managing with the bare essentials provided through rural living in Mahatori. Anjali and her mother never had enough money for, awareness of, or even access to the medical support that Anjali needed. When AsianAid's partner team screened Anjali's eyes during a school health camp, the team found that Anjali had a severe refractive error. Anjali and her mother were both unaware that their condition existed and that it had been affecting Anjali's vision and learning for years. When the partner team visited Anjali's home to deliver and fit her new prescription glasses and provide follow-up instructions and resources to Anjali's mother, Anjali was overjoyed. The partner team noted how carefully Anjali held her new glasses, similar to the way that children hold things that are precious and new. Partner project manager Madhav noted that in a life where survival takes precedence over everything else, the quiet struggle of a child straining to see had gone unnoticed and unaddressed. Refractive errors are among the most correctable causes of childhood visual impairment. With prescription glasses, a child's entire educational trajectory can change. Access to clean water and safe sanitation is essential for good health and well-being. Without these basic needs, children and families face increased risks of illness and fewer opportunities to learn, grow and thrive. That's why our health programs support communities with practical improvements that promote healthier homes and safer living environments. Over the past year, 22 families were supported to construct hygienic toilets, while others received water tanks and hygiene education to improve access to safe drinking water and to reduce the risk of waterborne disease. These initiatives are delivered alongside community training, empowering families to adopt health hygiene practices and take ownership of their health and well-being. For Nabanu, this support restored more than just her health, it restored her dignity. For almost a decade, she lived without access to a safe toilet, relying on neighbours or unsafe alternatives. Unable to afford one herself, she was selected through the community's consultation process to receive support. Today, she has a safe, hygienic toilet at home, bringing greater security, improved health and peace of mind for her family. It's a simple intervention that is making a lasting difference.
While education and health programs support children directly, livelihood initiatives help address the broader factors that influence a child's well-being, supporting families with the skills, knowledge and resources they need to create a more secure future. AsianAid's livelihood programs equip parents and community members with practical skills to increase household income, strengthen financial stability, and build greater independence. Programs are tailored to each community and include areas such as agriculture and animal husbandry, tailoring, handicrafts, tree distributions, saving groups, and adult literacy. Over the past year, 800 parents and community members have participated in livelihood training, gaining skills that support their families and create new opportunities. A further 257 parents and community members participated in self-help groups, providing a safe way to save, access small loans, and build financial skills in a supportive environment. Through these initiatives, families are equipped to provide for their needs today, explore new opportunities, and prepare for the future. Kavita, who you can see pictured up here, is a mother from southern Bangladesh who wanted to create a better future for her family. With only her husband's income from casual daily labour, meeting their every needs was often a challenge. Through AsianAid's project, Kavita joined a self-help group and participated in community courtyard meetings focused on health, well-being and community engagement. She also completed goat husbandry, training and received support to purchase her first goat. With care and commitment, Kavita grew her small livestock project. The first goat gave birth 3 times, and by raising and selling the goats, she generated additional income for her family. Each goat sold for around $100 Australian, helping her meet household needs and build greater financial security. Kavita's story shows the impact of investing in families with the right skills and opportunities. Today, she continues to care for her 2 goats, with one expected to give birth very soon, creating an ongoing source of income and opportunity for her family. So every child has the right to be safe, respected and protected. And safeguarding is central to everything we do at AsianAid, ensuring children are supported in environments where they can learn, grow and reach their full potential. Through our programs and partnerships, we work together to strengthen safeguarding practices, equipping staff, partners and communities with the knowledge and tools needed to keep children and vulnerable adults safe. This includes training, strengthening policies and procedures, and providing ongoing support to our partners. In the past year, AsianAid continued to invest in safeguarding capacity, including in-country training for partner staff in India and Nepal, with support from external safeguarding and risk specialists. By prioritising safeguarding across our work, we are helping create safer environments where children can thrive. So an exciting initiative launched in 2025 is Night Care, which you've heard a little bit about before, but it's quite a unique program because it supports some of Cambodia's most vulnerable children, babies and toddlers of women who are working in the prostitution industry. These children are often exposed to unsafe environments and are at increased risk of neglect, abuse and exploitation. Night Care provides a safe place where these children can be protected, cared for and given the opportunity to grow. Across 4 night care centres in Cambodia, 87 babies and toddlers have received a safe place to sleep. Each evening, the mothers bring their children to the centres where trained nannies provide a nutritious meal, clean clothes, and opportunities for play and learning, and a safe environment to rest overnight. Night care isn't just providing for their immediate needs, it provides the stability and care children need during these early years. Through playtime, learning, and consistent care, these children are being protected from harm and supported to grow and develop in a safe environment. One of the children supported through Night Care is Dara, a young boy whose mother was looking for a safe place for him to be cared for while she worked at night. When Dara first started at Night Care, it took him time to adjust to the new environment. His mother was also initially worried about leaving him in someone else's care, but those concerns eased as she saw him grow comfortable with the nannies and the routines of the centre. Today, Dara arrives at night care with confidence and joy. He enjoys playing, exploring the centre, and spending time with his nanny. Through the consistent care that he receives, he is growing well, developing new skills, and experiencing the safety and stability that every child needs. For his mother, night care has provided peace of mind, knowing that her son is safe and cared for while she works. Dara's story reflects the importance of giving every child the opportunity to grow in a safe and nurturing environment, regardless of the circumstances they were born in. And we're just going to watch a short video now on the night care program.
พยายามก็นึกว่าจะชอบชาวบิง
អូពេលមុនស្គាល់អង្គការហ្នឹងស្ថានភាពខ្ញុំពិបាកខ្លាំងណាស់អត់មានទៅធ្វើការណាចេញទេបើយើងមើលកូនព្រោះខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងបើថាខ្ញុំដឹងខ្ញុំយកកូនខ្ញុំផ្ញើនឹងយូរហើយចឹងចូលមកឆ្នាំហើយ ពេលយកមកផ្ញើអង្គការហ្នឹងហ៎មុនដំបូងមានអារម្មណ៍ថាខ្វល់ដែរពេលយូរទៅកូនអត់មានដែរនិយាយប្រាប់អីថាពិបាកអីផងថាអ្នកមានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយចិត្តនឹកឃើញថាផ្ទះថែទាំមើលខុសត្រូវកូនយើងហើយមានសុវត្ថិភាពអញ្ចឹងមានអារម្មណ៍ថានឹងចំហនឹងបើថាទុកនៅផ្ទះផ្ញើជាមួយគេអត់មានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយទេហើយក៏អត់មានអារម្មណ៍ទៅធ្វើការដែរព្រោះអត់ទុកចិត្តព្រោះនៅនេះដឹងថាអ្នកគ្រូមើលថែល្អអញ្ចឹងណាហើយមានសុវត្ថិភាពចូលមកបិទទ្វារបិទអួចអីចិត្តអញ្ចឹងដឹងថាមានសុវត្ថិភាពដឹងថាខំចិត្តពេលអូនញ៉ាំបាយហើយអូនបត់កតេលអ្នកគ្រូបោកកតេលហើយពេលលោកកតាហួតចូលលោកកឡោដាក់ភាពវិញឃើញថាមែនឃើញរូបលាស់ហើយអីហ្នឹងសម្បល់ស្បែកអីក៏រៀងប្រែអញ្ចឹងណានៅមួយយើងវាអត់អញ្ចឹងទេបើនៅមួយផ្ទះអ្នកគ្រូមើលទៅវាចេះញ៉ាំទឹកសឡទេញ៉ាំអីអញ្ចឹងសុបាយមានអារម្មណ៍សុបាយបើឆាអូពេលមុនខ្ញុំយកកូនមកដាក់ហ្នឹងហើយនឹងពេលដែលខ្ញុំយកមកដាក់ហ្នឹងហើយពេលឥឡូវហ្នឹងណាមកដល់ពេលហ្នឹងណាកូនខ្ញុំប្រែច្រើនសាអីទី1គាត់ចេះញ៉ាំបន្លែទី2គាត់ចេះស្ដាប់ចេះយកសម្រាមចេះយកអីទុកចេះមានរបៀបរៀបចំអីចេះដឹងនិយាយចេះស្ដាប់គ្នាចេះនិយាយមកថាខ្លាយជាងមុនអញ្ចឹងខ្លាយជាងពីកណ្ដោមួយយើងអត់ទេកាន់តែទូរស័ព្ទអីចឹងតែពេលមកដល់មួយអ្នកគ្រូដឹងអីថាចាំមើលចាំខ្ញុំប្រាប់អ្នកគ្រូអញ្ចឹងគាត់ធ្វើអីហើយអត់ហត់មកទេខ្ញុំអត់មានគិតទៅម៉េចទេថាគិតតែល្អគិតថាខ្ញុំទុកចិត្តគិតតែមានសុវត្ថិភាពហើយខ្ញុំគិតថាសេវាខាងអ្នកគ្រូល្អហើយកូនខ្ញុំមានសុវត្ថិភាពខ្ញុំពុនមុនក្នុងចិត្តខ្ញុំធ្វើការខ្ញុំមានកម្លាំងធ្វើការដោយសារកូនមកហ្នឹងវាមានសុវត្ថិភាពទាំងអស់លេងលូកឡោហើយញ៉ាំបាយសុបាយ
As we reflect on the past year, we are reminded that lasting change happens when we invest in children, families, and their communities. Through education, health, livelihoods, and safeguarding, we are seeing the impact of partnerships that help children reach their God-given potential. The stories that we've shared today are just a glimpse of the many lives being impacted across the countries where Asian Aid works. They are stories of hope, resilience, and transformation, and they form part of a much bigger legacy that has been built over 60 years. Thank you for being part of this journey. Through your support, we are helping create opportunities that will benefit children, families, and their communities for generations to come.
What's this lesson slide?
Good morning, and thank you, Raymond. Nice to have you here. Whether you're here in person or joining us online, thank you for being here. An annual general meeting is more than just a review of the year that has been. It's an opportunity we carve, if you like, to celebrate the legacy that has brought us here, to celebrate the many lives that have been transformed, and to look forward to the vision that God continues to place in front of us. As David said, I represent the marketing, communication, and supporter engagement team, and our key roles are to capture and share stories of resilience, transformation, and hope, and to ensure that every supporter has an experience that's meaningful to them, to the mission of Asian Aid. But the truth is, the most powerful stories are not ours. They belong to you. They are the stories written through your faith in action, through your compassion, through your generosity, through your commitment to see children access opportunities and hope. We might be the storytellers, but you are the authors of much of the impact that we will celebrate today. Our digital records only stretch so far, so our system is about 15 years old. And although we don't have great visibility on digital visibility on Asian Aid's early years, it's really special to still even see in our database today so many active supporters who have supported Asian Aid continuously over the past 50 or more years. I am curious, seeing we're actually celebrating legacy, to see what that long-term legacy is reflected in this room or online. I just wonder if you would please put your hand up and keep it up as I go through some time slots. And if you're online, just maybe comment on the live stream. If you've supported Asian Aid for at least 5 years, could you please put your hand up or comment on live stream? Keep your hand up if that has been 10 years. 15? 20? 25? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30? 35? 40? We've still got about three hands up. 45? 3, 4 hands up still. Sorry, has anybody supported for 50 years? Incredible. Still so many people for at least 45 years. Incredible support. Thank you so much. You belong to a community of Asian Aid supporters who since 1966 have enabled more than 55,000 children and young adults to be sponsored, and more than 155,000 children supported by education, health, advocacy, and livelihood projects. Yours is the kind of support that impacts and changes a legacy of hope for generations of children. And talking about children, children are the reason why we communicate. They're at the heart of how we communicate hope. Over the past 2 years, we've intentionally given children a voice through initiatives like the Kids Corner, Kid Talk, Little Voices, Big Ideas, or Kids Gifts of Hope catalog. This year, we're taking Hearing Kids to another level by the introduction of a family of Asian Aid animal mascots. You can see them on screen behind me. Tara the Firefly, a small and courageous traveler and storyteller whose light reminds children that anyone can bring hope, is joined by 4 other animal friends representing the countries where we work. Through stories, school visits, events, and digital adventures, these playful, we think they're pretty cute, culturally inspired characters will help our children, grandchildren, and the future generations connect with Asian Aid in a fun and meaningful way. More than just mascots, they will become a long-term expression, if you like, of the Asian Aid brand, helping young ones discover kindness, generosity, inclusion, and the joy we all get from giving children the opportunities they deserve. We're also investing in the next generation of Asian Aid supporters. We know that young adults value transparent, real stories, and they value real life experiences. So we've expanded both our digital presence and providing opportunities. Asian Aid's social media presence continued to grow this year. Across Facebook and Instagram, our audience reached over 3,355 followers, with our content generating close to 457,000 views. We welcomed 51 new supporters during this period of time, and our engagement increased by an impressive 390%, reflecting to some extent that the work that we do engages younger generations and content is resonating. This is an important way that we're building awareness, fostering meaningful connections, and reaching current and prospective supporters where they are the most active. David already mentioned the Hope Venture. Very excited to actually have 10 university students join on the first Hope Venture trip to Nepal late last year. I won't talk too much about that because David's already mentioned why we did it and how it impacted the young adults that went. But I guess from our end, the Hope Venture is us putting in place an important lesson we've learned over the years. And that lesson is that once someone experiences this kind of work for themselves, it often becomes a lifelong calling. So let's just take a brief look at some of the experiences that they had. While we've been busy not only speaking for children, but with children and to children and connecting with young supporters in Australia, you have continued to keep children in some of the most disadvantaged communities in Southeast Asia safe, healthy, educated, empowered, and supported. This year, you sponsored 2,697 children with 138 new sponsorships, collectively helping thousands of other children in the same schools and communities. You supported 512 projects through regular giving. You donated to 3 campaigns: Night Care for Little Ones in June in support of Cambodia, Hope in Motion in August in support of Nepal, and Help a Parent Change a Child's Future across all countries in December. And 5 legacy givers entrusted us with bequest funding this year as well. Many of you also humbly shared your AsianAid story during this, our anniversary year. It has been a privilege to hear from supporters and volunteers whose journeys, while unique, reflect the same compassion and commitment we see across our entire AsianAid community. The stories I'm sharing this morning, and I'll share a few, are not the stories of AsianAid. They are simply a few glimpses into the thousands of stories represented in this room and online and beyond. My hope is that as we hear these stories, and as I said, I'll read them to you, you will recognize something of your own in these stories. The story of Millie, who for many years has quietly lived out her belief that we have too much in Australia. We really need to share. What began with sponsoring 1 child grew to 24, and to this day in retirement, Millie is supporting 9 children. She also volunteered for more than a decade to run a local op shop with half of the proceeds from that shop supporting AsianAid. Through her humble generosity, Millie has helped countless children across education, healthcare, and giving them a hope for a brighter future. And then there is Neville, who growing up with very little after the Great Depression, experienced poverty firsthand and a reality that inspired a lifelong giving. For more than 32 years, Neville and his wife Ruth have faithfully supported many children through Asian Aid, believing that investing in a child's future can transform families and communities. As Neville simply puts it, I look forward to meeting all these children in heaven. And also Joan, a retired nurse who for more than 50 years has supported Asian Aid, believing that everyone deserves access to healthcare. Inspired by a lifetime of caring for others and a mom of 3 kids herself, she has championed health initiative for children and women, knowing that even a small gift can transform lives. One of her most treasured memories is receiving a letter from one of her sponsored girls who shared her dream of becoming a nurse. A reminder to Joan that a single act of generosity can inspire the next generation to serve too. As Joan says, you don't have to give a huge amount. Even a small donation can make a real difference. And this is the last story. And then there is Gail, who was one of the first few volunteers to join our Hop Shop team in Wauchope. For Gail, volunteering is more than serving in a shop. It's an opportunity to build friendship, support her community, and share hope through kindness and care. Whether helping customers or encouraging her fellow volunteers or creating a welcoming space, Gail believes the Op Shop is a place where people experience compassion and connection. Her message to all of us is very simple. Please volunteer, she says. It is a wonderful experience. Sometimes your feet may complain at the end of the day, but your heart never will. Story upon story of humble compassion and steadfast commitment. If only we had the time this morning to tell more stories and to hear your own, because every person who has ever partnered with Asian Aid has a story worth telling. Some are quiet, some spend decades, some have just begun. But together they form the story of this organization and the hope we continue to bring to children and communities. So thank you for the legacy you're building. Whether you pray for the children or for our team, whether you organize fundraisers or invite us into your school or churches, whether you include Asian Aid in your will, you engage with us on social media, you volunteer your time or simply send us a message of encouragement, we love them too. Every act matters. Your generosity in all its forms goes beyond financial support. It creates lasting change and it fuels our purpose. And with that purpose in mind, it is in partnership and community that we work to further our legacy into a vision of multiplied hope. This year, we forged new partnership with similar-minded organizations and ministries. We leveraged new media opportunities and strengthened our partnership with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Together with Adventist women in New South Wales and Mums at the Table, we raised awareness and support for vulnerable babies and children and toddlers in Cambodia through Night Care, while media partnership with The Record and Signs of the Times magazine and with Faith FM and Vision Radio Network helped share their story with thousands more. Across Australia, we continued engaging with churches and schools and retirement villages and camps, with 70 churches and 16 schools sponsoring children, donating to a project, or welcoming us into their community. These partnerships are more than collaborations. They multiply hope in ways that we could never do alone, so that even more children can have a brighter future. So our story is truly your story. The story of the founders who were bold enough to dream and to trust, of our board, staff, and volunteers who have faithfully served, and of every supporter who has believed that children deserve hope and the opportunity to reach their God-given potential. We are truly grateful that you are part of this journey. You get me again. Now we move to a very special part of today's program, the presentation of live memberships. This is a recognition of individuals whose outstanding service and dedication has made a really incredible impact on the story of Asian Aid. These life memberships were, I guess, recommendations from our team and endorsed by the board. Kay Zardevel is the first of the 3 people whom the Asian Aid family is honored to recognize today. Kay unfortunately was not able to be here in person, but we know that Kay is watching online, and we're really excited to celebrate you, Kay, with the wider Asian Aid family today. It was 1974. A young woman named Helen Eager visited Avondale College, as it was called then, to speak to students about a simple but an important idea that through education, ordinary people could change the course of a child's life. One of the students sitting in the audience was Kay, and something clicked. You see, Kay understood exactly what opportunity meant. She had grown up in rural Australia where educational opportunities were limited. She knew firsthand what it meant for someone else to sacrifice so that another person could have an education. Reflected on that experience, Kay says, "For me in a rural community, there was no opportunities for university. But through the sacrifice, sponsorship if you like, of family, my life included graduated from Avondale University and in later years, postgraduate qualifications. The sacrifice of others has meant that I've excelled in my financial career and given back by passing it forward." From that day in 1974 to today, Kay has faithfully supported children through Asian Aid. Not for a few years, not until life became busy, but for more than 5 decades. She has always sponsored 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl, and has sponsored them throughout their entire educational journey, while also supporting countless other Asian Aid projects and initiatives. When asked why she has remained as committed for so many years, her answer is beautifully simple. Education makes a lasting lifetime change. Education in the classroom, she says, education in healthy living, education in good community values. They aren't just words for Kay, they've become the way she's lived her life. But Kay's generosity has never been limited to just simply sponsoring children. When Asian Aid shared appeals for students who had unexpectedly lost their sponsors, perhaps because the sponsor had passed away or because their financial circumstances had changed, Kay would quietly step in. And she wasn't necessarily looking for the youngest child either. Those students were able to finish high school, and some even continued on to university because support stayed with them until they reached their goals. That says a lot about Kay. She sees potential, she sees possibility, and she stays the course. Of course, Kay's contribution to Asian Aid extends beyond her financial support. She first joined the board in 2011 and has served several terms as a director. As chair of the Finance Committee, she has brought wisdom, integrity, and decades of financial experience to our organization. She has strengthened our governance and stewardship and has helped ensure that money entrusted to Asian Aid is used wisely for the biggest impact on children. As someone who knows Kay's children, perhaps what I admire most is that her influence hasn't stopped with her. When asked how she has involved her family, Kay said she tried to role model what it means to make a difference. Her family know that it's not just something you say, it's something you live. Whether through Asian Aid or in other acts of service, that value has become part of the legacy she is passing on to her children and grandchildren. What a remarkable story. Some people make a difference through one moment, extraordinary moment. Others make a difference through thousands of everyday, faithful decisions made over a lifetime. Kay has chosen the second path. For more than 50 years, she has invested in futures, in hope, in generations of lives that will be forever changed because someone believed they were worth investing in. Kay, thank you for your generosity, your servant heart, your wise leadership, and your steadfast belief that education changes lives. Tammy, do you want to come here for a minute, and I'll just pass on to you to give to your mum. A little gift of some flowers. Stay here, Tammy. It is a privilege to honor. It is a privilege to honor and welcome you as a life member, Kay, to the Asian Aid family. And let's all give Kay a clap, although she's not here with us. Thanks, Tammy.
It's only in recent years that I've re-engaged with Asian Aid. First meeting Asian Aid many years ago on the other end of it in Pakistan, when children were being sponsored there at the school where I was working. But in recent years, stepping in, I think David Heiss was the board member who retired, and I stepped into that position, introduced me to a number of people, Colin, Kay, and David, all of whom have profound knowledge of the Asian Aid programs and network and people. And so that was a wonderful introduction to working at the board level with Asian Aid. So, David, you've been involved with Asian Aid probably 23, 24 years, coming on board as a donor in 2003, and then after many years as a donor, stepping into a board position in 2018 and 19. In 2020, he was appointed a director and deputy chair, which position he's held until now. Very, very ably stepping in when Colin is away travelling or caught in an airport somewhere. We can always rely on David to step in. When you talk to David about the reasons why he's involved with Asian Aid, it comes through very clearly that he's passionate about giving children hope, the opportunity in life to be the best that they can be. And that's driven by a deeper philosophy that David has often expressed, that we have a responsibility as Christians to reach out and help others as they travel through life, to share some of our talents and our assets and our abilities so that their lives are better, lifted up, given more fairness and more opportunity. He often talks about being a steward of God's grace and God's goodness. I think in his introduction and talking about Maisie Fook and her journey where she caught a vision for what she could do for children, that example is really what has driven David as well in his work with Asian Aid. And I think he saw that the generosity, the compassion that was exhibited with those early pioneers, Maisie and Helen and others, that they could take their skills and abilities and God could use it in an amazing way. That train track journey where you take a different track has encouraged, I think, David to bring so many talents into the Asian Aid network. And without knowing all of his abilities, some of the ones that have been mentioned, his legal expertise, his experience in management, his experience working with government and non-government agencies, 35 years as a legal advisor, and an investigator, a policy advisor working with the New South Wales government, the Attorney General's Department, the Healthcare Commission, the Department of the Premier and Cabinet. He's also a JP, a coroner, a court registrar, a magistrate. The list goes on, and I'm probably not even covering it deeply enough. University law lecturer and a legal consultant. So you can imagine that Asian Aid has benefited from these skills and talents, this expertise over the years with David's involvement. And that's been a fantastic help as the aid industry becomes more and more complex, more and more legislation, more and more accountability. His expertise has been invaluable. Asian Aid started, like many of our church-based agencies, from the passion and the dedication of people who wanted to get in there at the grassroots level, hands-on and do things. But as legislation and regulations and registrations and policies come into play, we need more and more professionalism so that we can protect the agency's work on the ground. And David has contributed that. So I think he saw others who could use their abilities and their compassion, and I think that inspired him to bring his expertise into Asian Aid. But he didn't come alone. Your wife Anne has also been a sponsor and taken the journey with you, I think, in travel as well. And his son Andrew is one of our directors on the board also, bringing different expertise, but again, valuable contribution. So it becomes a generational thing. And that's fantastic to see. The stories bring that out, that this is not just a one-off involvement in helping. This gets to your heart and you can't let it go. And you pass it on to your children, like Kay does to Tammy, and it embeds itself in your family. My son served in Nepal with ADRA and worked with the Asian Aid team in Nepal as well. So it's great to see that passion being taken on to the next generation. When you talk to David, there are several memories that he has mentioned several times, both in his worships and when you're talking with David. It seems that the field visit that he and Anne took to India several years ago had an incredible impact on him. For those of us that have travelled a lot, we see this very, very regularly. Sometimes if you haven't seen what's happening in the field, it can really have an impact on your heart. And David will often talk about meeting the sponsored child, going into her little hut with the family there, seeing just the few minimal things that she had around her. That was her life, all encompassed in just a little package case. And we, from a Western environment, where with our wealth and assets, don't understand just how simply sometimes people have to live, but the happiness and joy they can get out of that they have. And the recognition that you have been part of the journey to lift them out of that and give them hope and a future. And that has stayed with David and Anne and is often part of his comment when he talks. So thank you, David, for your service, your skill, your experience, your integrity that comes through, your compassion, your heartfelt kindness and generosity that you show that reflects God's love. It truly is an opportunity that we've seen, which is changing lives through Christian service. So thank you, David.
And I have the privilege of introducing Colin as a life member. And if you've had the annual report, he's up in photos here everywhere. He loves his travel, as you know, and hence being late. But here's Colin on a trip somewhere. And I've had the privilege of meeting Colin the very first time, which was 7 years ago in my interview. And so it was here at Avondale. And from there, worked very closely with Colin in the chairperson's role as my role, and it's been very supportive, and it's been a pleasure to work with you, Colin. So what I can see here is Colin started sponsoring from 1990 and was appointed as a director in 2018 and appointed as chair in 19. So from that time, Colin was reappointed and has served as the chairperson for that time. And in his role, he brings a lot of expertise from his financial background. He's worked as a consultant in the international fields and World Bank and operated in over 20 countries. So like Kay and David, Colin brings a lot of experience from his professional life, and we're very grateful to have Colin as our chairperson. I've had the privilege also of travelling with Colin Colin likes to travel, as we know, and I got the opportunity to travel with him through India and Nepal. And his experience in those countries was invaluable for me. We got to meet a lot of church people, a lot of leadership, and Colin's experience was exceptional. So we just want to say thank you, Colin. Appreciate it, and thank you for what you do. And welcome as a life member. Come on. You got to come and get those. You might have come from New York, but you can walk from there to here. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Just a few words. I think you've been sitting there for quite a while. They say you shouldn't start a talk by apologising, but that's my first apology. I have to apologise. My intent was to be here, our intent, with Bronwyn and my son. We were travelling back. As you know, for those of you who travel, there's always the unexpected. Your flights are cancelled, delayed, and then you miss it, and they send you off to somewhere else. And it's been a long journey. We thought we were never going to get here. So it's great to be here, and I just want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you, the part that you play in the support of Asian Aid. Whether you're there as a board member, as staff, donors, supporters, whether you're working at the op shop, all of your contributions are greatly appreciated. And we really want to celebrate this occasion. It's been a fantastic achievement to be able to continue for 60 years. And when you look back, you've really got to say it's really been the commitment of your support and God's leading and God's guidance. So thank you so much. I won't take up any more time, but I'm glad to be able to be here and join you here today. That was one of my wishes. I wanted to definitely be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Life members, and congratulations. It's great that we can get some very experienced board members and now Life members. I guess a part of the formal part of the AGM is to reappoint a couple of our board members. So this year, due to rotations, the board directors have a 3-year term. And this year we have David, who's come to the end of a 3-year term. So he went up for reappointment, and it was resolved that, David, you are now a board member till 2029 annual general meeting, which is lovely.
Thank you.
And secondly, Nadine, who can't be here today, also came to the end of her 3rd-year term. And so she went up for reappointment, and similarly it's resolved that she'll also continue as a board member for another 3 years to the 2029 annual general meeting. So congratulations, Nadine. Yes. So as we honour the legacy of the past 60 years, we recognise that the Asian Aid story is actually still being written. The needs of children, families and communities continue to evolve, and so must our response. With our mission and values in mind, we are always seeking new opportunities to deepen our impact. The following little video shows briefly the highlights of our strategic pillars as we look to the future.
We're committed to our mission to enable children, their families and communities to reach their God-given potential through child-focused programs that foster sustainable positive change. Our strategy builds on our strengths, responds to emerging needs, and focuses our collective efforts where they will have the greatest impact on children. At the heart of our strategy are 4 guiding pillars. We're strengthening who we are, what we stand for, and how we're recognised by the communities we serve. By building meaningful partnerships, sharing our story with clarity and confidence, refreshing our brand and enhancing our digital experience will deepen trust, inspire new support, and strengthen connections with everyone who shares our mission. Children are at the heart of everything we do. Together with our local partners, we'll strengthen programs that protect children's rights, amplify their voices, and support every aspect of their well-being. By investing in local leadership and collaborative partnerships, we'll create lasting opportunities for more children to thrive. Every supporter has the power to change a child's future. Through meaningful experiences, personalised communication, and powerful stories of impact, we'll deepen relationships with our donors and inspire more people to join our mission. By engaging churches, schools, communities, and supporters as advocates, we'll grow a passionate movement of people working together to transform children's lives. To maximise our impact and meet the opportunities of tomorrow, we must continue to progress. We'll invest in smarter technology, stronger systems, best practice governance, and the capability of our people to ensure we remain accountable and adaptable. Together, these 4 pillars provide more than a strategic framework. They represent our shared commitment to those we serve, to each other, and to the future we're building together. Together, we're ready for what's next.
Well, this is the best part of the AGM, I know. You'll wait for it, it's the official bit, but that name there should really be Linda. She's been looking forward to this section for her 5-year anniversary. She gets the privilege of presenting the financials. She loves it, see? Eye roll. I told you. So this is, we'll just get through this part. Every part of AGM needs the official bit done. So yeah, Linda.
Yes, there may have been a few eye rolls as we were preparing for this back in the office. Thank you, Paul. I am very happy to share a little bit this morning on what our funding distribution looks like to our in-country partners. And you can see this on the presentation and also page 21 of your annual report booklet. The distribution of the generous donations we receive are allocated into the following portions. Accountability and administration are 12%. Fundraising costs represent 13%. And a total 75% of funds are being utilised within our programs. This incorporates the international programs percentage of 53%, domestic program of 1%, program costs at 18%, and bequest reserve spend into programs of 3%. This means that a total of 75 cents of every donated dollar is spent directly within our partner programs in each of the countries and areas they work in, helping children and families in need. Through the ACFID body of members, the average program spend across all members, for a comparison, is 66%. So we are encouraged to see that Asian Aid's funding distribution is well above the ACFID industry average. Looking now at the sponsorship by region graph on the right-hand side, the funding distribution into our sponsorship program is utilised in the following proportions, being India at 38%, Nepal 17%, and Bangladesh 31%. We also receive donations towards multiple sponsorship regions of 14%. The details you see on this slide supports the amazing impact through our programs, as we have heard Joanna and Tammy share about earlier. We are so thankful for the privilege of being part of this life-changing work. Thank you, and I will now hand back to Paul for the remainder of the financial report.
No, it's yours. Thanks, Linda. Thank you. Yeah, so this last year has been another busy year, as you've seen, and our auditors came through. They do 2 audits, internal audits for us, one in February and another one in April, and that's North Corp. You would have seen them. They've been our auditor for the last 8 years, and this is just acknowledging their independence as a auditor to our organisation. and you'll find if you would like a full financials, they're available. Just let us know, or they were in the members portal if you wanted to look at them. This is a ACFID summary, a financial summary of our financials. So I'll just run through the highlights. This year we had a total of $3,096,000 of revenue, broken down into our donations of 2.8 million, bequests and other income 113, and investment income of 170. So what was encouraging for us as a team this year is versus last year is our donations increased, while our bequest income was down, our donation from our supporters increased. And that was encouraging considering the economic year that we've had globally this year. Total expenditure is 3 million, broken down, as Linda said, into the international programs. The three numbers there come up to like $2.3 million, and the balance is around 700,000 of our spend in comms and admin and programs. So we had a surplus of 92,000 and a comprehensive income there of 63,000. So that negative there is related to the movements in the investment funds that we have. From the balance sheet perspective, we have total balance assets of 5,478,000 and liabilities of total 231, and a net assets of 5,247,000. And that's our movements. So a lot of the liabilities there are provisions, but you can see there from our balance sheet, it's a solid balance sheet. It's broken down into our current assets and our non-current assets being cash, and also then the managed funds and property that we have as an organisation. So we'd like to just again thank you for all your support to help us have a successful financial year, and also to demonstrate to you that all the programs that Tammy and Joanna have shared with you, the funds are being transferred internationally across that split that you saw Linda present. Yeah. Yeah. All right, and that's our financials for this.
Thank you, Paul. Annika?
Yeah, thank you, Paul and Linda. Appreciate that, because we all survived the numbers. But the official part is that, yes, due to the voting that was done online, we can be resolved to accept the financial statements and the auditor's report for the company for the 2025-26 period. Thank you.
All right, we're coming to the end of the meeting, or fairly close. Okay.
It's still got Colin's name on it. Yes.
Well, that's fine. So there'll be some closing remarks from myself and Colin. Then there'll be a short video. Lorena will close with prayer, and then we will invite you, and you have an invitation now actually, to join us for some light refreshments, and thank you for being here. So a few thank yous. Thank you to Avondale University for allowing us to come here and use the library. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to our sponsors and our donors for your support of Asian Aid. Importantly, very importantly, thank you to our staff in Asian Aid. Thank you for your passion, for your commitment, and also your expertise. It is greatly valued, and it makes Asian Aid happen. So thank you very much. And finally, thank you to you as the supporters and the donors of Asian Aid. Without you, Asian Aid would not be happening. So thank you very much. Now, Maisie believed in practical Christianity, and her legacy of practical Christianity is now passed down to us. It's something that we cherish, it's something we uphold, and it's something that we honour. Brotherly kindness and love are about touching lives to make them better. It is about giving hope to people, hope today. With God's help, these values will remain at the core of who we are at Asian Aid. So thank you. Colin?
I think David's already said most of the thank yous. I'd like to thank you stepping in also at the last moment. I much appreciate your support throughout. And lastly to you also, thank you so much for taking time today to come and share and listen, because you've certainly been a part, and I'm sure you each have a personal commitment. That's why you're here, and that's why you've been supporting Asian Aid for so long. And some of you, as been indicated when Bruno asked to put our hands up, it's been a long-term commitment. And I pray that you'll continue to do so, and we'll pray that, that the Lord will continue to guide and bless Asian Aid as they have. And we look forward with confidence when we have such a solid financial background there as well. And we're thankful to the Lord for being able to do that. And so we look forward to the next chapters in our development. So thank you, David.
Thanks, Colin. That was a good message from New York.
मेरा नाम पवन सिंह है और मैं 7 क्लास में हूँ। मेरा नाम दीपक प्रधान और मैं कक्षा 5 में। मेरा नाम संध्या मंजूर, मैं डांस में अच्छी हूँ। मुझे स्कूल में बहुत अच्छा लगता है। मुझको खेलना पसंद है, पढ़ना और खेलना अच्छा लगता है। मेरा नाम है नेहा प्यारी टू, मैं क्लास LKG में पढ़ती हूँ। मुझे स्कूल में फुटबॉल खेलना बहुत पसंद है। मुझे ड्राइंग करना बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हमारे स्कूल में नई क्लासरूम और लाइब्रेरी बनाई गई है। नया टीचर्स और अच्छा पानी पीने को मिली है। बहुत सारे किताबें भी मिली है।
These children now have safer, more engaging spaces to learn and grow. Teachers and families are now better able to support and nurture every child. From early education to well-being programs, children are gaining confidence, both inside and outside the classroom. Necessary improvements in schools and communities are making a meaningful difference every day.
मुझे ये स्कूल बहुत अच्छा लगता है।
Most importantly, children are being heard, supported, and given opportunities to thrive.
स्पॉन्सर को मैं शुक्रिया बोलना चाहता हूँ इस मदद के लिए। मैं स्पॉन्सर को मदद के लिए धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ। स्पॉन्सर को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। मैं स्पॉन्सर को थैंक यू कहना चाहता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
To a close, so I'll close the meeting and Lorena will close in prayer.
I would like to start by saying that it's such a privilege being here today, and I'll say a few words and then the prayer. 60 years of Asian Aid, thousands of lives transformed, and not just lives, but generations through kindness and generosity. And I'll reinforce what David said about Jesus teaching, not just preaching with words, but Matthew 25 says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me." And Jesus concluded by saying, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the last of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Today we celebrate something remarkable, not simply an organization that has been existing for 60 years, but countless lives that have been transformed because ordinary people like you have chosen to show extraordinary kindness. Over the past 6 decades, through the generosity of hundreds of supporters, Thousands of children receive an education, experience hope, discover opportunities that would otherwise have been beyond their reach. Behind every number is a name. Behind every statistic is a story. Behind every transformed life is someone who chose to love as Christ loved and loves. Today we remember that generosity is never just about giving money. It's about giving hope, dignity, opportunity, and the love of God. Over 6 decades, the love and kindness was never only preached, it was demonstrated through acts of compassion. The power of small acts. Someone wonders whether one person's gift can really make a difference. Maisie Fook responded, but she followed the example of Jesus. He answered that question by taking one small boy's lunch, 5 loaves of bread, and 2 fishes, and feeding more than 5,000 people. In God's hands, small acts become extraordinary miracles. One sponsorship, one donation, one encouraging letter, one prayer. God multiplies faithful generosity beyond anything we can imagine. Each life reminds us that kindness has the power to transform and change generations. And let's pray. As we celebrate that what God has done over the last 60 years, we also look ahead. There are still children waiting, families needing hope, communities longing for opportunity. The question before us is not simply what has God done through you, but the question is how will God continue his work through us. I pray, may we be people who notice these needs. May we be people who give generously. May we be people who reflect the compassion of Jesus, because every act of kindness points people to him. May God continue to use each one of us so that more children discover hope, more family will experience transformation, and more generations will come to know the love of Christ. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And also I'll pray for food as our friends are putting the food in the tables. Dear Jesus, thank you, Lord, for this amazing opportunity to be together here and to celebrate this remarkable milestone of 60 years practicing your love and following your example. I pray also for the food, for people that they have prepared the food. Bless them, bless their hands and their families, and bless everyone in taking part of this lunch to nourish our bodies and make us healthy so we can serve and work for you, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. And I would invite Bruna.
Thanks, Florina. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for staying. Before you leave, there's been a lot of people that are involved in an event of this nature, but I just wanted to say a big thank you to Sandra. Thank you so much, Sandra, for volunteering to actually help with the flowers. So the beautiful flowers that you saw when you walked in, Sandra's work, and then the bouquets of flowers that the Life members received. Really appreciate your time and effort and eye for creativity. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much. I've got a little something for you, but I'll come around and give this to you. And please stay over for lunch, everyone. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for attending. It's been great to have you here. Please now enjoy our hospitality and may God bless you.